Welcome back to Swine TV. Today we have Dan Simmons, founder and president of Continental Search, and Maria Codilla, their practice manager for production and processing. They're here today because we're discussing a hot topic from a recent salary survey that we partnered on, which was featured hiring swine live production professionals based on education versus years of experience. Welcome to the program, guys.
Thanks for having us. It's a pleasure to be here. We're big fans of Swine Web.
Well,
Hi, guys.
appreciate working with you guys on the survey. Dan, can you just give us a brief background of yourself, Continental Search, and the survey?
I've been recruiting since 1991. I started Continental Search in 96. And in the early 2000s, we decided as a company to focus on the animal sciences. And we started recruiting for the feed industry. We've grown to work all throughout animal health and nutrition. And we've added production and processing. That includes pork and poultry. One of the things we found was that there's not a lot of good data on what companies are paying and what people are earning in these fields. So 4 years ago, we tried our hand at doing salary surveys. And we did one for animal health professionals that are in the technical roles, whether they're nutritionists, veterinarians, or they're in sales support. We also have done one for feed mill managers, and they've been 4 years running. And if anybody's interested, you can have copies of this for free on our website. And this past year, we decided to support Maria's role as she develops her business in pork production. And we did one for live production salaries in the US and Canada. And this is everything from nutritionists and veterinarians and executives in live production to area managers, multi-site managers, farm managers, to heads of departments, techs, geneticists, and researchers. And we found some interesting information, and we're providing it to the industry.
So I got a couple of questions for you guys, but a few notes. Again, this is the first survey you've done in swine. It was done in Canada and the US, and the numbers are based on what they're paying. It's not based on the US or Canadian funds. It's based on the number that they said. So Dan, let's start with you. What are the advantages of hiring based on education?
Well, educated staff will have a lot of knowledge. They're exposed to the latest advancements in research, and they should have strong critical thinking skills. So they'll require less initial training. What we learned, though, from our survey is that education doesn't significantly impact earnings, whether you're a multi-site manager or a barn tech. If you're working in production in roles that don't require an advanced degree, having the degree may help you in your ramp up, but it doesn't impact your earning potential. For instance, among multi-site managers, education wasn't a significant factor in income. We had 28 multi-site managers in the US that completed our survey. 10 of them worked for the pork powerhouses. Of those 10, 7 have bachelor's degrees, 1 had some college, and 2 are high school grads. Now, this may seem counterintuitive, but education and the number of direct reports were not significant factors, either one, in the income of this group. One of the things we learned was a high school grad supervising 10 to 24 earns 100 to 110,000 in the US and has a bonus potential of about 20%. But that's similar to someone with a bachelor's degree who has more than 100 direct reports. So the education and less people is worth 100 to 110. So is someone with a bachelor's degree and over 100 direct reports.
So Dan, you gave us some good insight on the education component. Maria, what's your take on hiring based on experience?
Now, that's actually something that I'm a big fan of. I believe that practical experience can't be, honestly, this is something that you just can't trade in for just education. So experience brings up practical expertise. I'm talking about people who grew up on a farm, with maybe some college in there, could even be just with a high school degree. Experienced personnel, they can adapt to farm-specific conditions. They offer cost effectiveness due to less training involved, because this is something that they've been doing since they were kids, pretty much chores growing up around the house or the farm. And many of these guys have a proven track record. However, it is also worth noting our salary survey did not measure the impact of experience on earnings this time around. That is something that we're looking to explore the next time.
I think when we're talking about people and careers, environment is a big factor as well, and then the individual motivation for each person. And you also mentioned in the future you'd like to explore more, so there might be more surveys, Maria.
That's what we're looking to do. In the next couple of years, we are looking to have this as a yearly event. We are hoping to gain more traction. That way our data can be more insightful for a wider variety of people, and perhaps including other countries as well in a couple years.
So great insights on education and experience. However, it's not all positive. Is it, Dan? What about the cons of hiring based on education?
Well, what you need to consider here is if you have someone who's coming straight out of school and has not had internships, has not grown up on a farm, they don't have the practical insights. So any of the students who are watching this, I would encourage them to take internships as they go through school to have this. But sometimes you'll have people come through straight out of school that have salary expectations higher than what they should be, where they're not going to hit the ground running. Some of the big companies have good training programs for that. Smithfield, I know, has an excellent training program for entry level. But I'd be cautious of hiring someone who just has an educational background and does not have hands-on experience in a commercial setting.
Were you guys happy with how the survey turned out?
Very. For our first time, yeah. We had 275 respondents. We've had global respondents, but we had good representation in the US and also in Canada.
So the full results are available on continentalsearch.com, which you can download the ebook here. The last call for people who might be of interest here, Dan or Maria, why do people need to come and check this out?
I can take this one. So
Sure.
whether you're someone that's just trying to see what your current compensation stacks up to based on industry standards in your country, or if you're a person that's looking to hire your next team member and you're unsure as to where your current budget might fit in, I think overall this survey should cover the basics of what you need.
Additionally, if someone is looking at a role and they need to justify why they're worth X, Y, and Z, this data will help them do this. This is the first time this has been available. We couldn't find this anywhere. So I'm pretty sure this is the only survey of its kind, and you can use it when you're hiring to make sure your standards are right. As Maria said, you can look at it as, am I being paid well enough for what I do? And if you want to go to your boss for a raise, take this with you because it's objective data.
Well, a great resource for swine industry professionals. Dan and Maria, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Been a pleasure.